Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest spooky episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Mike Lee Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame 27-year-old Tom Selleck in Carta.
So you're a 27-year-old Tom Selleck?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Is that legal?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if you go back in time and then you become... I'm not sure if I understand the mechanics yet of going back in time or rather going forward in time and then becoming someone from back in time. I guess that's me being Tom Selleck at age 27. I guess how that
I mean, it's kind of like a quantum leap thing. So, like, you know, you leap into Tom Selleck back then.
Yeah, I mean, not in a sexual way, but just like, you know... Sorry.
I don't think anybody took that in the sexual way but you, but okay.
I know, just...
I'm sure there's like a porn out there about Quantum Leap that would be like...
Yeah, probably. Oh, God.
I hope there is. No, I'm joking.
And what do they call it? Something... Rule 43, rule something, where it's like, if there's a movie or show, there's always going to be a porn version of it or something like that. Yes. It's called like Rule 43 or 30. I don't remember, but something like that.
Especially if it's popular, there's got to be. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are definitely porn versions of Magnum PI.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just sitting right there. Like,
I mean, Tom Selleck has a porn mustache right there. So,
for decades he had that mustache. Yeah,
yes, he still does on Blue Bloods.
That's right. Yeah. I guess you can call that, blue balls. No, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyways, back to the topic at hand here. For a few episodes here, we're covering some lesser known horror and Halloween adjacent movies here. Well, maybe not lesser known, but just some interesting ones. We're going to start it out here with Daughters of Satan.
Yeah.
I'm calling this series of episodes here are all to October. Ooh. And so Daughters of Satan came out in 1972, starring a 27-year-old Tom Selleck. The film was directed by Hollingsworth Morse, written by John C. Higgins and John A. Bushelman. I was trying to sound it out, and then I realized, wait, it's Bushelman.
Wow.
The director of the film, Hollingsworth Morse, he directed, it looks like a lot of stuff, going all the way back to 1949, a lot of TV shows starting back then. Did everything from like Lone Ranger to Crash of Moons to Menace from Outer Space. These are like TV movies and stuff, and Broken Arrow, a bunch of like westerns and stuff. Zorro.
Oh, okay, cool.
Jim Backus show, stuff like that. Some Lassie, stuff like that. Yeah. He last thing he directed was an 11 episodes of The Fall Guy TV series, which was just remade into a movie. Starring Ryan Gosling. So that's his history. And so the movie stars Tom Selleck as James Robertson, Bara Grant as Chris Robertson, Tani Guthrie as Kitty Durante, Paralluman as Juana Rios, among others. Those are like our main stars. So
yeah, there's not a whole lot of characters in the movie.
Yeah, Vic Cillian as Dr. Dangle.
Yeah.
Yes. So what was your initial reaction here to this film?
I liked it a lot. So I was actually thinking about this last night where, I always say that I don't really like horror as a genre, but really what it is that I like a specific type of horror that's really mainly from like the early till mid 70s, especially the films that don't really have a lot of violence. It's more of a suspense type of thing. So like, especially Italian horror films, because I had a friend who he had these DVDs just filled to the brim with like Italian horror films and a bunch of other stuff. And we would watch them together, and I just loved it. I mean, so like when I thought of horror, I was always thinking of like slasher films from like the 80s and things like that, which didn't really appeal to me, but like definitely like the early 70s stuff, I just love.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, even some early slasher films like Halloween isn't really that violent. Like the original Halloween, there's not really a lot of violence in it. It's more of the suspense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how Jaws is scarier because you don't really see the shark that much. So, it's like...
Yeah, exactly. It's the fear of the unknown. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, Hitchcock always, used to say that. It's like, you kind of like don't show the bad thing and people are more scared of it. Yeah, so I think Hitchcock did. I don't know. I'm attributing it to him, so he better have. If he didn't, I'm going to go back in time. And
He's like, he better have, because...
I'm going to leap back into his body and make him say
it. Yes. Oh, God.
You're going to leap back into Tom Selleck, and I'm going to leap back into Alfred Hitchcock. Yes.
Yep.
Maybe we can get back to a point where they're both still alive, and we can like make a movie together.
Yeah, okay. Be kind of cool.
Alfred Hitchcock's Daughters of Satan.
Yeah. I wonder, was this Tom Selleck's very first movie, or did he do stuff before this?
He had like, I think, one credit prior to this, if I remember.
Wow.
Let me look it up. According to the Internet Movie Database, he did. He had a few before this. I'm sorry. Daughters of Satan. Oh, there it is. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 roles before that, mostly on TV.
Okay, cool.
Including right after this, though, he did he was on Young and the Restless after this.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Cool. So that's but it is pretty much, I think, like his first or second film here. So yeah, there we go.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah. Good times. Yeah. Good times. So according to the Internet New Movie Database, again, the plot of this movie is an antique dealer living in the Philippines buys an ancient painting of witches burning because one witch looks identical to his wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, hey, honey.
I know, it's so fucking bizarre, man. Like,
if I saw a painting of somebody that looked like my significant other burning at the stake, I don't think I would buy it.
I know, it's like, dude.
I expect her to be excited about it.
I know. Right from the get-go, I was like, man, that's a weird thing to do. Like, because he's like, even said he's not buying it for the museum; he's buying it for himself. So it's like, okay,
yeah, it's like Dude, you know you've got your wife right there. You don't need a painting of somebody that looks like her to make you happy.
And like it's like, you could just observe it, like, okay, that's kind of strange, and then just move on, like, like
maybe hire a portrait artist to paint your wife or something if you want a painting of her. Maybe like more happy setting. Anyways, but then we wouldn't have a movie. So what goes on in this movie here, Sesame?
Yeah. Well, okay, so we start off with these witches / Satanists are torturing, I guess, one of their female members that was, I guess, recanted her beliefs or something. So they're trying to get her to basically recommit to Satan or Lucifer or what. They had to recite a bunch of different names of Satan or demons or whatever, like Lucifer, I think was one of I think Citri was one of the names or something like that. Basically, they're like names of like demons, sort of like the Christian sort of mythology. And then they had like these little spikes on the floor that kind of like digging into her feet. But then like once she recites all the names of Satan, they lift her up and basically like, okay, you're good now, like you're back in the fold or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I guess
it's very much like what happened when I wanted to leave Boy Scouts.
They're like, okay, like, all right, you gotta recite like the creed or the whatever, like whatever the like the motto or whatever it is, like
the motto, I don't even remember.
It's I never was but like, I don't have some kind of motto.
Prepared. That's all I'd say. But the and of course it's funny that the main witch here, she's wearing this like leotard. Like
I know.
Got like crabs painted on it or something. It's just so.
It's just it's so weird. I know, like, and also too, there's like a racial element too, because they're in the Philippines and she's white and she's torturing a Filipino woman. Like, it's like,
she's got all these men behind her who are like Filipino guys, and it's just like, I don't know.
They're like her. But there is like one random white guy who's like, he never says anything. He's always just like hanging out there. like I don't think he's had one word. Like he usually is just like sitting on his, not on his knees, but he's sort of like kneeling a little bit, and he's always just kind of like just like observing what's going on, but never like really like has any like emotions. He's just like watching things. He's like, oh, that's kind of interesting that they're torturing this lady. I don't know. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just watching, just like,
man, there's nothing good on TV tonight, so I thought I'd just come here and watch this lady.
Exactly. Witching hour. Yeah, exactly. And so that's how we begin. And then, like I said, but I don't know, because later on, well, I will get into it, because later on, I'm not sure if they did let her live. So we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But, or maybe she just died from the wounds, or something like that.
Yeah.
But like, so then we get into Tom Selleck's characters going into a store called Treasures of the Orient, and there's a guy there, which I'm not even sure if he's Asian or not, playing there. I don't know. And like, he's telling this woman, he's trying to sell this like knife to a woman, saying it's like, basically like a witch's knife. It's like been imbued with skunk pea and vinegar and something else, and was supposed to have like given the knife like magical properties or whatever, something like that. And
totally off topic of this movie, but last night I was riding in a car on my way home from a wedding gig that I did in the middle of nowhere, and on the way home we hit a skunk.
Oh God, no!
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere, and my friend Nate just like he tried to kind of swerve, but he couldn't, and he hit the thing. So yeah. And then we almost hit like 3 other animals too, like because we're driving in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. Yeah, it was great.
Wow. Did it smell after you hit it, or?
I think it did, but it wasn't that bad. So, but yeah, still, I'm pretty sure it was a skunk because it was like a black like animal that totally had to be a skunk. It couldn't have. I mean, it was too dark to be a possum, so we weren't really sure. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and plus too, the skunk probably didn't have time to like release its scent. So like it probably maybe just a little bit because usually you can smell that shit from like miles away.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's the guy selling this knife to this lady for good luck, and then she leaves, and then he's like, "I'll be right with you, sir." And already he's kind of got this weird sort of like devious look on his face, and then he's telling him about the painting or whatever, and then because he actually went in there to like check out some like rug or something that was apparently part of some artifact, and he claimed that he had part of it, but then Tom Selleck's guy's like, no, actually the stitching here is incorrect because they didn't use that kind of stitching in that era or whatever type of thing.
So it was
really rude to the guy too.
Yeah. So basically he's like, dude, you got a fucking fake here. It's a Fugazi. Yeah.
Exactly. And then so he's like, but I will buy this painting if you're selling it. And he's like, oh sure. And by the way, too, that's when so he literally looked at it and he even said the words, goes, that's Chris. Like, that doesn't look like Chris. That is Chris, which is interesting foreshadowing, by the way. And I mean, I didn't pick it up until just right now, literally. So I was talking about it. But so he sells them the painting, and then like after he leaves, the guy like looks down like on a piece of paper that has his name written down. So it's like he was already like looking for him, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah. And there was a picture of him and Chris.
Oh, that's right. It was actually, that's right. I forgot. It was actually a photo. And then, so apparently he does very well for himself because he drives a really fancy car. He lives like basically in a mansion. And his wife, as far as I know, doesn't have a job. I mean,
this is literally the weirdest episode of Magnum PI I've ever seen.
It was like a special like Halloween episode. Yeah, it was like a 2-hour episode, with commercials and yeah, I know. And
I mean, he lives in a tropical area in a mansion, and he's got a nice sports car. I mean, it's basically Magnum PI.
Saying like it's like that's when at one point he has a Magnum gun as well. So I wonder
the Hawaiian shirt, Detroit Tigers baseball cap, and it's totally Magnum. I mean, come on.
I mean, it was just very surprising.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I got this big surprise for you," and she's like, "Oh," he's like, "No, wait till you get inside," and then he unveils the painting, and of course, Chris, having a normal reaction as any human being would be, is like, "Why did you bring this home?"
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? You think I'm gonna like this? I mean, her reaction, no joke, totally reminded me of the reaction from my ex when I bought her the wrong version of a movie for Christmas. Like she wanted it was like the Black Stallion or something, and there's like several versions of it, and I bought her the wrong.
Okay.
She wanted a remake of it. And I was like, she looked at me like, "Why the fuck did you buy this for me?" Like, because you wanted it. Yeah.
That happened to me once when I was a little kid. My parents bought me Angels in the Outfield, but the original one from the 1960s. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, thanks.
Yeah.
I'll watch this one time.
But I've never bought a significant other or a family member a picture of them burning at the stake. So I'm sure that would have been a different reaction. Maybe she would have been happier with that. Who knows?
I don't know. But if you sit there like acting all like, "Well, I thought this would make you happy," it's like, why, dude? Why would that make her happy? Dude, that's weird. Oh my God.
I think I'm going to commission somebody to paint a painting of me burning at the stake.
Whoa.
And just hang it up in my apartment and wonder if people notice.
Yeah, and then like, yeah, I know, it'd be hilarious. And then she's like, "This was an event from 1592," and he's like, "How did you know that?" And she's like, "I don't know. I just knew it somehow." So this is when the weird stuff happens in the movie starts happening. Yeah.
I looked into it because I wasn't quite sure that in Spain, because this takes place in Spain, there's conquistadors burning women and a dog at the stake. basically, so there was always these rumors, like the stereotype was like witches being burned at the stake, like, and people always used to like attribute that to like Salem, the witch trials in Salem. Not a single person was burned at the stake in the United States.
Oh,
but
really?
It did happen in Europe, including in Spain. So this was actually accurate. I had to look into that because I was like, is this just a made up thing? But they actually did burn women at the stake after accusing them of being witches. So
right
in Spain. So, yeah.
What I don't get, and I know I kind of accidentally skipping ahead here, is if they're taking place in the Philippines, why is all this taking place in the Philippines if it happened in Spain? Like, why wouldn't they just whatever? Why wouldn't they just do it in Spain? But okay, and then like.
Because I'm pretty sure that it was actually a production of the Philippines, so that's why.
Oh, so they had to be okay. Makes sense.
I mean, it was produced by United Artists, but I think in association with some company in the Philippines, so that's probably why they had to shoot it there. So, yeah.
Right. So basically, what happens too is so the picture starts fading, and so what happens now when the picture of her starts fading from the painting itself?
Well, that doesn't really start happening until a little later. First, the dog.
Oh, okay.
The dog fades from the painting.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, the dog is mysteriously faded, and basically, like I say, so Chris is approached by a dog. First off, that resembles the dog from the painting. And she starts calling it Nicodemus without even knowing its name.
Right, yeah.
Collar that says Nicodemus on it. And then James later notices that the dog has mysteriously faded from the painting.
Right.
So yeah, and then then we have a mysterious woman showing up at the house.
Oh, yeah, who's like gonna be their cook or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they put an ad in the paper or something.
Yeah. And she resembles another one of the women in the painting. So
right, and so Chris is like obviously freaking out, but then she kind of gets the notion that like this woman isn't really here to be their cook, and so the woman basically just drops all pretensions, like, yeah, no, like this is your destiny. She's like, wait, what? Like, what's my destiny? And so it's just like you have no choice. It's like, wait, what? Have no choice for what? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, if I was living in a mansion and my 27-year-old husband Tom Selleck brings a painting of me burning at stake or someone who looks like me, and then he's like, by the way, I'm gonna hire a cook to like help you out here, and then the cook shows up and looks at the painting with me. And then I realized that one of the other people looks like the cook. And then the cook's like, this is your destiny. You have no choice. It's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Like, what the fuck is going on, man? Like, I would just be like, no, you're leaving. You gotta go. Like,
I'm good. Let's leave the Philippines.
Let's just go like right now. Or maybe I would play along at first because I didn't want to raise suspicions. Like, oh yeah, sure, absolutely. And then like middle of the night, like, we're going right now. Like, pack your suitcase. Who cares? We're just leaving the house right now. Like, like we could leave anything. We could buy more furniture. Okay, we could buy more clothes. Like, we're just going now.
I mean, I have a painting of James Dean on my wall, and one day a guy that looked like James Dean showed up at my house, and I just stabbed him. So, wait.
It's like, hey, buddy, yeah, no.
No.
It's such a weird concept. So basically, it's like what's happening is these people and also the dog. When the picture, obviously, I think our listeners can figure out what's going on. Is that when the picture fades, then they become real in real life, essentially.
Yeah.
And then they quote have some destiny to fulfill, but we don't really learn out until like, I don't know, maybe about 20 minutes, half hour later about what that destiny actually is. So what is that destiny?
So Tom Selleck's James goes to like a psychiatrist named Dr. Dangle, and with his issues that he's having about this painting and all this other shit, and another patient comes barging in, and it's the crazy leotard wearing woman from the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out that she looks like the third woman in the painting.
Yep.
And so they so basically there is another point too, I think. It's before that where James visits the address that's on Nicodemus's collar, and it's a mortuary. And inside the mortuary, there's this weird guy singing and taking pictures of this dead body that is this woman from the beginning of the movie that was being tortured by the witches.
Right. So I don't understand. I thought they had forgiven her, so maybe she just succumbed to her wounds or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about, but I don't know. He was singing some weird song about people and dying and all this other stuff. And
also like Jesus Christ, which is weird because he's a Satanist. So I don't know. Yeah. And then who knows?
Well, I mean, it's funny because like people are like, because like real Satanists don't even believe in Satan. It's Christians that believe in Satan. So maybe it's the other way around in this where
yeah. There are some demonologists who do believe in that stuff, but like the vast majority of Satanists don't even believe that stuff.
They're mostly just atheists who or agnostics or whatever, or people that are just against the whole religion taking over our country, like a Christo-fascist thing that may happen. Go out and vote, people. Anyway, so it's just like a weird scene, and then he's leaving the place. You see this this casket that they're like making outside of wood, and the lid is closed down on it, and there's a little plaque on it with James' like date of birth and his date of death being 1972 and his name on it. So yeah,
he didn't notice that because he was just trying to get away from the alley. Which is where they're randomly building a casket in the alley.
And their address was 666 something or other.
Revelation, 666 Revelation or something like that. Yeah, like a little bit on the nose, but all right.
Mm-hmm. And then the place where he bought the painting, he goes back there, and their address is 666 something as well.
Yeah.
So he's trying to find out what's going on, but then he finds he finds Carlos. That's the guy at the store. He finds him dead with a dagger in his heart, and is attacked, and then he's attacked by an unknown man and manages to elude him. But I'm wondering if that dagger that's in his heart is the one that he sold the lady at the beginning.
No, it looks like it, but why are they killing their own followers? I don't understand that. They never explain
maybe
that.
He's not a follower, and I don't know, or he's just doing something, or maybe people that are gonna like let on to what's going on or something. I don't know.
Well, he seemed like he was like, he looked all devious when Jonathan, what's his name, Jonathan or whatever, John
James.
Or was
James.
Yeah. When James left, he looked like he was part of the plan. So why would they kill him? But I guess they never really explained that part. So I don't know. And then,
so anyways, then James goes to James goes to visit his psychiatrist, Dr. Dangle, and during his visit, Dangle's other patient named Kitty, she's the dominatrix coven, leotard wearing creep from the beginning of the movie. She comes in and is rambling about being forced to do all these evil things, and then she leaves. And James notices that she resembles the third woman in the painting and tells Dr. Dangle this. So, yeah.
And then she gives James like this weird look when she leaves.
Yeah.
Almost like, but it was weird because like, it looked like almost like a conspiratorial look, like almost like James was in on it, like in a weird way, like almost like she was like almost trying to tell him something, but then she's the bad in the movie, so I don't really understand. But
it was just an interesting acting choice, I think. So she
did this thing where she like raised her eyebrows a lot in this movie. That was like her one look or whatever. Hey, I can't. I don't have hardly any facial expressions at all, so I can't really, criticize.
I mean, that's just because you're a robot, but
I am. Yeah,
I wasn't supposed to tell our listeners that, was I?
Damn it! Yeah. All right. It's fine. Right?
Yeah,
it's all right. We're good.
You're actually an AI voice that I created so I could have a co-host to the show because I actually have no friends, and
you have AI friends.
Yes, that's all. But basically, after that, Chris starts making these like subtle attempts at murdering her husband.
Yeah.
And like in this, I think you could like change the music in this movie and it would be a comedy.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's like all these like it's a comedy where somebody's trying to murder somebody and they keep failing or whatever. Just there's something in the edit. You could edit it differently and make this totally a comedy. But she keeps messing up and not being able to murder him.
I know. Like, I don't know if she's like trying to stop herself or she's just very inept at murder, which I guess is a good thing. I don't think you should be good at murder. So, I think
Yes.
that's a good thing. And then, like, at one point, he
Nobody
starts
should be
having
good at murder. Nobody should be good at murder, including the U.S. government. And
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
or the Israeli government. Anyway, so the
Yeah.
So Chris fucks up a lot, and then we have and the whole time Nicodemus is being a pun intended bitch to James.
Oh, I know. Like, just wanting to like rip him to shreds, basically.
Yeah, so he locks him up in this like shed outside or something. And so Dr. Dangle, I don't know why I find that name funny.
I think it's Dangle, but we should just keep on Dangle.
Dr. Dangle.
Yes, we should just keep this. Like, let's just stay with that.
So Dr. Dangle, he comes over, and James is talking about what's going on with the painting and how he thinks that Chris's personality is being weird and shit like that, the stuff you tell your psychiatrist. And then so they're looking at the painting, and James leaves the room for some reason, and Dangle has visions of the three witches dancing as he drives home. But before that, though, he put like the painting was being really weird and stuff, and he put a like statue of Mary, of the Virgin Mary, in front of it. So yeah, and that stopped things from being, because anything Christian stops them, I guess.
I mean, that's typical like exorcist type movie stuff,
Because
like,
throughout the movie too, Chris has a cross necklace around her neck, so like a gold cross. So
yeah, exactly. And that's supposed to like protect her, but then like James like sometimes like finds it laying on the floor, and then she doesn't realize that she had taken it off or whatever. And so he's like, hey, what's going on? Because she's like super religious. I don't know if he was, but she was like really religious.
Yeah, she went to mass every day.
Like every single day, which is like hardcore religion right there, especially if you're like in the Philippines as well, because I imagine probably a little bit more religious than like the United States were.
My grandpa went to mass every day.
Yeah.
Almost every day, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. And at one point, James also has the hallucination of the witches doing like a ritual in the backyard. He goes to check it out, and then they disappear. But then like guys like beat him up basically and something like that. And they kill him, but then they leave him alone, I guess, afterwards. For some reason, I'm not sure why they left him alone. But I don't remember, because they beat him up and they like tied him up, but then they just leave him. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, why didn't they kill him?
I don't understand. Like, that part didn't really make any sense to me. I don't know. And then like, yeah, psychiatrist Dr. Dango asked him, I'm going to present you with some information. You tell me if it's figment or fact. So, he mentions like the concrete things like fact, and then he's like the witches, and he's like figment because they disappeared, and then the guy's beating him up, and he's like fact, and stuff like that. And okay, basically, I don't know. And then Dr. Dangle ends up dying though, because he gets in a car crash that they had, I guess, set up for him or whatever.
Yeah,
witches or whatever.
And creepy kitty watches the car explode from the distance.
I like that.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's what happens after that then.
So then she, creepy kitty, like is talking to James and like claiming how sad she is and how.
Yeah, this is after the funeral for Dr. Dangle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they went to Dr. Dangle's funeral.
Dr. Dangle and Creepy Kitty. That's
yes, and that's the foreign version of the Dr. Dangle. And so anyway, so she's like, yeah, he was such a great friend. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do without him. And then she starts like flirting with him, knowing that, and then she acts like the one, making a pass at her. She's like, oh, like all you guys always try to think that you're going to score. It's like, wait, lady, you're the one who's flirting with him. I don't know what's going on. And then like she's like, oh, I got something, to look at in my bed. It's like, oh, okay. And then, it's like a painting or whatever. And then she like starts laying on her bed and then like takes off her shirt or whatever. And then she's acting like, acting like he's trying to make a pass at her. It's like, okay, lady, you invite him to your bedroom, you get on your bed, you remove your shirt, and then you're like, I can't believe these men are trying to, it's like, score. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, are we living in the same reality? Like,
yeah, and she wanted to show him the painting because she said it was painted by the same guy that painted the painting that he found with the witches, and she knew like everything about it, and it was like, well, trying to explain how she knew, and she's like, Dr. Dangle told me, like, a psychiatrist isn't going to tell you about another patient.
I know, like, why would you? Yeah, exactly. It's like, why would you? Yeah, I don't know. And then it's obviously because she knew, because she's obviously the ringleader of all crap that's going on. And she kind of mentions like she gives him like almost like a veiled threat where it's like, oh, they also killed all of the male descendants of the person that was in charge of burning the witch, basically. And
in the new painting that we see, there's a guy that resembles him that is supposedly like his like great grandfather or whatever, so yeah,
right. And it's like, okay, and so it's like, okay, so wait a minute, you're gonna want to kill someone just because they're a descendant of the guy who killed your ancestors from like 400 years ago. I mean, I guess it makes sense because people hold grudges forever. I mean, like, the whole reason why the Serbian committed genocide against the Bosnian Muslims is because the Ottoman Empire invaded their land in 1389, and that was like their battle cry. I'm like, really? 700 years ago? Come on. Like,
it's like, I listened to the stand-up comic the other day. I wish I could remember his name, but he's an African-American stand-up comic, and he was talking about, he's like it's hard for black people to believe in reincarnation because if you go back so far, you were probably white. and he says if you think about it, you probably enslaved yourself and enslaved your right. You probably were a slave owner, and now you're reincarnated, and you're being treated badly by people that you would have been and stuff like that. So it's just like, I mean, I'm not doing justice to what he said, but it's just basically like this idea that I just think you can't blame ancestors for what they did. It's like the people trying to say stuff about, well, Kamala Harris's ancestors were slave owners, so we shouldn't vote for her.
It's just like it's such a
shouldn't vote for her. I'm not promoting anybody, but I'm just saying that's the stupidest reason to not vote for somebody.
Yeah, I know. It's like, your ancestors are bad, so like, I don't like you. Okay, like, cool, I guess, cool story. I don't know.
And then if you think about it for a second, the reason that her ancestors were slave owners and the reason that she's part black and has white ancestry in her is because maybe the slave owners impregnated the slaves.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's just bizarre. And so like, she's like, hey, we're gonna kill you, basically, is what she's saying. I mean, she just kind of lays it out, basically, like yeah, bro, we're just totally gonna kill you. So we're
gonna kill you because you have a mustache, and so does this guy in this painting.
Yeah. At least she gave him the courtesy of telling her, like, hey, we're gonna do this, so just get ready or try to run away, I guess, or whatever you need to do. And then and so he's kind of freaking out about that. He's spooked about that. So he gets home and he's like, okay, we're getting out of here right now. We're gonna fire Wana. What's her name? I think it was Wana.
Yeah, it was Wana.
So she overhears just as she's about to give them like a bunch of like free food that she had made, and she kind of makes like a joke of like, here's a bunch of non-nutritious snacks for you or something like that. Yeah. It's like, I'm like, okay, thank you for like being mean about it. And then he's like,
at that point, I thought that what she was going to do is slowly kill him over time with like cholesterol and stuff.
Yeah, that was the long game. Yeah, it's like, this is how they're going to do it. It's going to take a long time, to do it. It's kind of a more boring way to do it. It's not like so much of a witchy way of doing it, but
I'm gonna make you eat fatty foods, and then eventually you're gonna have a heart attack and die. That's what it's gonna be.
Just be prepared. Get ready. And so she's like, oh, so you're gonna fire me? Okay, well, I want a week's vacation pay. I want blah blah blah, all these different things.
I want a Miata. I want X-Men 1.
Yeah, it reminds me of Shatterglass. I want issues at the Playboy and Penthouse.
Yeah.
And, that whole great movie. And then, and he says something along the lines of like, how about disagreeability hey, because you've been disagreeable, I don't know, something like that. And then, to be fair though, he was kind of mean to her, and also the guy at the shop too, you know. So it kind of reminds me in a way of like the Wicker Man a little bit, because like he's kind of he just like doesn't respect their culture. He's kind of rude to them, you know. And like it does seem like at certain times they were trying to like warn him, like, hey, we're gonna do this to you. You probably should leave now, just like they were in the Wicker Man. Yeah. Where they're like, hey, like, we're gonna give you a chance to, because like that one woman was basically like trying to seduce him in the Wicker Man, not this movie. And basically, if he had sex with her, then he would no longer be a virgin. Therefore, they would have to sacrifice him, because they had to sacrifice a male, something like that. So it's kind of interesting in that movie where they were literally like giving him a chance, like, hey, we're not going to kill you if you do this thing, but since you didn't, well, now I guess we have to. And then, in this movie, I guess a similar way, not like, oh, you're got to kill you. We're not going to kill you this thing or whatever. But I guess somewhere along the lane, Chris realized what was happening, and so she got more religious, and I guess they found out, so then they started torturing her, same little torture area, whatever, with the spikes.
They burned her cross as well, and like
and made her recite the Lord's Prayer backwards, which is actually interesting. That's what the Church of Satan would do with Anton LaVey. By the way, Anton LaVey was like a piece of shit, like really. Like, he was like a pedophile. He raped, I think he raped his daughter at one point. I think she said that he did that to her, sexually abused her. What's her name? Xena? She's like a Buddhist now, which is interesting.
Yeah. She's the one that people think that Taylor Swift is a reincarnation of or something.
She does look a lot like, when she was younger. She does look a lot like her, though. Which, you know, it just happens. Human beings sometimes look like each other.
He started like the whole like Church of Satan thing like in the 60s, didn't he?
Yeah, like the atheist version, not like the demon, like where they literally believe.
So I mean, that might be where they got that idea, is what I'm saying. So
yeah, they probably did, because I think he started Church of Satan in like 1965 or 66. I don't know the exact year. And it's interesting, the way he started it was because he noticed the hypocrisy, because he used to play the organ at like carnivals, I guess, but like, I guess back then carnivals were a little bit more like adult oriented.
Yeah.
And he would see like the people, like especially the men, would like, you know, commit all of these like sexual, you know, quote unquote sin on Saturday nights, and then on Sunday morning they would go to church and act like holy or whatever. So he was like, fuck this shit, you know. Like, I'm just gonna start my own religion, you know, where it's just like, hey, just, it's okay that you do these things, like, don't try to be a hypocrite about it. But no, he was like a really, really bad guy, like really bad dude. But that's a whole other dish. I don't want to get too much in the weeds in that, but
maybe next year we'll do a study of that for October. Yeah,
that would be a really cool idea. Yeah, totally. And so they make her recite the Lord's Prayer backwards. They don't make her recite the names of demons though, like they did with the first one. So I'm not really sure why they did that. But
they just pick and choose their torture methods, I guess.
Well, I mean, you don't want to make it stale. You know, you want to like, you know, mix it up a little bit. You know, you don't want people to get bored with the torture method.
I mean,
they already had the fights again.
The next person, they make them sing Lawrence Welk songs. It's just a random thing that they do, just whatever they feel like.
It's just whatever. It's like they like. It's like they put like a thing in the hat and they just pull out whatever, you know, whatever phrase, whatever thing they say. Oh, make them like, you know, do the frog, the hello my baby, hello my darling, whatever song.
but they the whole but they always must like have them topless hanging above a bunch of spikes.
Well, see, that's another thing too. That was part of the sexploitation era of movies as well, where it's like you had to have like at least like one scene of a woman just bare chested for like no reason.
Yeah.
No reason at all. Like, oh, here, we'll just throw this in there for
this movie checked it several times, so we're good.
At least 3 times with 3 different women. So yeah, they were really, they went all in, you know, on that front. But they you know, and they also make her denounce Christ by spitting on the cross or a Bible, I don't remember which. And then she didn't want to do it, but she eventually gave in, which to me, I'm kind of confused about this, because a lot of the times it doesn't really seem like Chris is actually possessed. like it's like she's still herself, because that's the reason why she didn't really want to spit on the cross, is because she still actually believed in Christ, but she knew she had to in order to live, essentially. And so I don't know. It's a kind of confusing.
Yeah, and so they so like after that, after being strung up and all that stuff, and being beaten and everything, she comes home and she drugs James when they,
that's right. That was when Juana was mad about being.
So what happens, like with Juana, but Chris ends up, drugging her husband, and they take him they drive him in his car, and Kitty. They have his car up there, and Kitty joins them, and she places the car atop like a cliff or whatever, and this is pretty smart.
No, I know. I saw that exactly. I was going to mention this. Yeah,
they put the car, in drive, but they put ice blocks under the wheels to stop it from moving. Mm-hmm. But the ice blocks will, slowly melt, and then eventually the car will go off the cliff. I thought
I like that.
That was a really, it reminds me of like some of these, like the whole the thing where you find somebody hanging in the middle of the room and there's no chair or anything underneath them. How did how did they die? They were standing on a block of ice, but there's a puddle of water underneath them, sort of thing. Okay. Yeah, that whole like riddle or whatever for people to figure out. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of, but it's interesting. I thought that was pretty clever.
No, it was totally clever. Yeah, I never seen that in a movie before.
I'm totally not going to use that to kill anybody, but
no, but still, you can still like, hey, you recognize game, when it's there.
I'm just saying, if anybody does die in a car that goes off a cliff, it totally wasn't me. I mean, there's really no cliffs anywhere near I live, but so.
Right. So the reason why they did that is because he had to die like somewhere around midnight, so they couldn't just do it right then and there.
Yeah.
And so that's why they put the blocks. So, but how would they know that like they had to weigh the ice blocks to know exactly like what time ice would break?
Maybe he had to die that day or something. It had to be after midnight, but they also wanted to set up an alibi.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they went to the bar.
This bar that the owner knew Chris at. So they basically they introduced Chris introduces Kitty and Juana to the guy at the restaurant or bar or whatever you want to call it, and then after midnight they all come out of this trance, and Juana introduces herself to the others, and that isn't even her name.
No, what was it? I forgot her name, and she's actually a registered nurse. She's
not a cook and a housekeeper. Her name is Almina Ramundo, a nurse.
Oh, right.
And Chris is sitting there, and she's like, "I'm worried about Jim,"
Right, and also the Kitty was like a totally different personality as well.
Yeah, she tries to talk to them. She's like, "If you guys are having any kind of mental problems, you should go see Dr. Dangle."
Oh, exactly. That's right. She didn't even know that Dr. Dangle was dead. And yeah, totally like not devious at all. Like she was like the most bubbly of all the personalities. She was like, hey,
talking about going to Tokyo or something. Yeah,
Hong Kong.
Yeah, that's what it was. I couldn't remember where it was, but yeah. So
she's like, I got some money stashed. I mean, I'm not rich, but and then the what's her name? I forgot her name.
Almina.
Almina sees a check written out to her, but to Juana for like $500 or something like that.
Yeah,
and she's like, this doesn't say my name, but then Kitty's like, who cares? I mean, it's for you, like just cash it.
Because it's in your purse, so that means it's for you.
Exactly. It's like it's such weird logic, and they're like, hey, hey, you found this gold bar that obviously was stolen from somewhere, but hey, it's in your purse or it's in your house, so it's yours now. It's like, no,
possession is so much of the law or whatever it is, like 3/5 of the law or whatever.
That's not how that works. And then so they're like, and then she's like, Chris is like, no, we're my husband. And then Kitty's like, how should I know who your husband is? I don't even know who he is. Like, I don't even know who you are. Exactly.
I don't know how the fuck we ended up in this bar, but
that was just such an interesting thing, though, because it kind of proved that like this had been going on for a while, where Kitty wasn't even like this person, like she got possessed, as well.
Yeah,
it wasn't just Chris,
Yeah, it was confusing. I mean, yeah, but then I still don't get why Juana had, why Almina had the name Juana though.
Well, maybe Kitty had a different name too. I don't know. Where does she introduce herself as Kitty?
I'm pretty sure she was known as, maybe she was known as Kitty. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, but or maybe she never said her name. I thought when Dr. Dangle addressed her, he addressed her as Kitty. So
maybe that's her real name.
Yeah.
And so what happens after this? After they basically leave to go to Hong Kong, pretty much just by herself.
So Chris goes home, is dropped off by Kitty at her house, and she goes in, and she's looking for James, and she can't find him anywhere, and she's freaking out. And then the thing I'm trying to figure out is, does she remember the dog? Because the dog's there too, and it's like she doesn't react like, hey, where the fuck did this dog come from?
No, I don't think she did, but James, and plus the dog was like really nice to James. Now it's like letting
no, but I mean before. No, I'm talking before she even sees James. It's like she sees the dog first. So
right, yeah, I don't know much about that.
And so, but James walks in, and he says that, I woke up and I was on this cliff about to die, basically, and I got out of the car. The car's a mess, though.
Yeah, totally destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah, but then so Chris is feeling, she's the dog is like nice and everything, and Chris is like still acting kind of weird and feeling something's wrong, and so she lays down in James's office, and on his couch, and so the painted image is there of the witches and everything, and it all begins to fade, but
right thing, just her picture, I think, faded.
Yeah, and so she's like tearful and everything, and she's hugging James. He's on top of her, and she grabs a dagger from somewhere, and she stabs him to death.
Well, I think it was that same knife or dagger from the beginning, the same.
Yeah, I just don't know where
that was. I knew it was going to happen, but I was like, please. But it was like literally with like 1 minute to spare in the entire movie, including credits. I'm like, God damn it!
But there's no explanation. I don't know why she still killed him.
Well, I think it's because for some reason that she got possessed again.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to wonder, was Kitty and Juana like pretending to go out of the trance as well, or were they just faking it, like, type of thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they seem like they weren't. But,
yeah. Because I honestly think Juana wasn't faking it. I don't think so. I think she was really Almina. So yeah, I don't know. So
it's interesting. Yeah, we'll never know. And plus, too, the credits were really fast. It was like 30 seconds. That was over. But like literally with a minute to spare, I was like, "Oh, God damn it!" It's like I wanted them to survive, and like,
it's okay. It's okay. He went on to become the police commissioner of New York City, so we're good.
And he also was like a detective in Hawaii afterwards.
Yeah,
so we're all good. So
he was a reporter at one time and in and out, and he's done a lot of things.
Then he became a baseball player in Japan for a while. Did a lot of...
he dated Monica on Friends. It was all good.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh my God. So that's Daughters of Satan.
Yes. Yep. That was an interesting movie. I enjoyed it actually, but I still.
No, I thought it was really good. I might watch it with my dad or something. Like,
I have a million questions still, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, it's like
totally. I mean, Dr. Dangle. I mean, I think he should have been the main character, really. I mean, with a name like that.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Dangle and Creepy Kitty. It's the name of my new punk band.
That actually sounds really Dr. Dangle and Creepy Kitty. That's a really good name for either a punk band or like a noise band or something.
Yeah, or a Gregorian chant choir. But no, something.
No,
I don't
think
a polka band.
Well. Maybe not that either. I don't know. It depends with that one. You might be able, if you're like an ironic polka band, maybe that would work out. Like, hey, we're just gonna do like I know you got polka
Hulk Floyd, but maybe like do one like a different band, like you're kind of like Green Day, but no, that you can't really.
Black Sabbath.
How would that work though?
I don't know. No, I'm just thinking. I was just trying to think of something that's connected to the Daughters of Satan.
Also, Daughters of Satan sounds like a good band name as well. I'm pretty sure there's like gotta be at least
there's gotta be at least one band out there called Daughters of Satan. If not, they should be.
Absolutely, there's gotta be. Yeah.
So yeah, any other thoughts here before we wrap things up?
No, not really. I just I would personally recommend this movie. I enjoyed it a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you watched the movie, please comment below wherever you can and let us know what you thought. If there's any questions we had that you have answers to, let us know too, or any questions you have that we didn't bring up. Let us know in the comments, whether it's on YouTube or on Spotify or on one of our social media locations, such as Facebook or TikTok or what have you. Also, be sure to check out all2real2.com, and you can get links to all that stuff, and as well as our TeePublic and our Patreon. Maybe on a TeePublic we might maybe we'll design a Dr. Dangle and Creepy Kitty t-shirt. If I have time in the next couple of weeks, I may do that. So be on the lookout for that. Also, just be sure to spread the word of our show. If not, we may have to hang you up above some spikes on the ground and make you do it. We'll hand you your phone and make you log into things and start spreading the word of our show. Joking.
Yeah, but also don't do that to get people to listen to our show as well. Don't
do that. We don't want fans that way.
But you can use the tactic of putting ice blocks in someone's behind someone's wheel, crashing the car. So you can do that. But only if no one's in the car.
Yeah, don't do that.
No. Yeah, just don't do that at all. Like saying. We're not allowed to advocate crime.
We're not responsible for any crimes that you commit.
Yeah, there you go. That's we got past the censors, like the people like, I do not give Facebook permission to. I'm like, dude, that's not gonna do it. I do not I do not give witches permission to kill me because I'm the descendant of a guy who killed their aunt. I do not give them permission.
Yes.
They're like, oh, can't do anything now. He said he doesn't have permission.
I literally saw today one of my Facebook friends posted something that says, I do not give Meta permission to use any of my images for AI or any other purposes. And I'm like, yeah, you do.
You signed a contract. Like, I'm sorry, but like that's how it is. Like, it sucked because nobody really understands these contracts, but you did, so.
And they change all the time, and nobody ever reads them.
But understands them. You have to be a lawyer to understand them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I mean, it's like the guy whose wife died of allergies at a Disney resort.
Oh God, yeah.
And because he had signed up for a free trial of Disney Plus, somehow they're not responsible after they said that there was no allergens in the food. So yeah.
That one's so diabolic. Talk about that's more evil than these witches killing the dude. Like, at least he was the descendant of someone who burned the reincarnated.
It's similar too. Like Roku has a similar thing too. Like their latest update had a thing where you have to do everything in arbitration. Like you can't sue Roku if you use it. You have to go through arbitration. Yeah. But I mean, like if something happened, because of things, you can't take them to court for anything. It's part of their new terms of services. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and the thing is, it's like basically Roku TVs, if you don't agree to that terms of services, sometimes it'll just lock your TV and your TV becomes a brick, basically. So
you have a Roku TV, but what if you have a regular TV and just have the app, but it's still lock your TV?
It won't like your TV, but if you're using like a Roku device, it may do that. I don't think it's for the app. I think it's just for the Roku devices. So yeah.
That's crazy, man.
So yeah, read your terms and services, but the thing is, you really can't get around them, though. Unfortunately.
No, you can't. That's the thing. Like,
I mean, literally, and people never read them. The terms of services could say that you owe them your firstborn child or something, and people just agree to this shit because you don't read them. So when little Disney Jr., your firstborn child. Your children are going to be Disney, Netflix, and Roku. And but anyways, folks, be good to each other. And just remember that I love you. The daughters of Satan don't love you.
No, they don't. They really don't.
Sesame loves you.
Yeah.
Trans lives are human lives. Free Palestine. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.